Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Hi, William C. here, the Vortex of Knowledge. This is episode 2 of the first 7. If you haven't done so, go back and check episode 1 out for sure on triangulation of facts. There's a ton of information out on personal responsibility out there, the subject of this episode. Everyone from parents to politicians talk about it. But for our purposes, the question is, how is personal responsibility important to you in your life? In other words, no matter how you define it, or who tells you what it is to have personal responsibility based on your definition of personal responsibility is what we're after. Do you know what your personal responsibility is to you? Hold that thought for a second. Do you know when you are being responsible? Do you even consciously have a personal responsibility point that you think about? Knowledge is power. Knowing where you fit in terms of the level of personal responsibility is important to you, and also important in terms of the people you interact with. They're watching, for sure. The highest form of personal responsibility I've ever been able to determine is when you do something and no one sees you do it. As a result, bad things happen. You step forward and take responsibility for it. You pay a price. An apology is the minimum you do. Conversely, the lowest form of personal responsibility is you did it, no one saw you do it, you claim you don't know anything about it when asked, then you get as far away from it as you can, and to avoid taking responsibility, you even point to someone else, hoping people think that person did it. That's the lowest form of personal responsibility you can have, or rather, not taking responsibility at all. So what do you do before, during, and after whatever you say or do? Ask yourself this question. If this goes badly, or already has, am I going to step forward and say, yeah, that was me, and then pay a price? In other words, you're going to own it. Now, how do you know when you have the highest, lowest, or somewhere in between level of personal responsibility? When you have a high level of personal responsibility, people give you more responsibilities. When you have a low level of personal responsibilities, you get less responsibilities. Now, wherever you feel you fall from high to low, here's what you do to stay high if you're there and get high if you're not. Number 1, remember what you say and do. Not always easy if it's a week later or a month later or what have you. If in doubt, take personal responsibility anyway. Say you're at home or you're at work in your office and you go to make a pot of coffee. Get a phone call causing you to quickly leave the office. The next day, there's an office mystery swirling about the flooded coffee counter. High responsibility, you immediately step up even if you're not sure it was you. Low responsibility, you let the mystery continue without comment and just go about your day. Number 2, once responsibility is taken, pay a price. An apology is the minimum. The results of the act will surely dictate a higher price if required. Pay it. You know, you borrow somebody's property and break it. Replace it. That's high responsibility. If you blame it on the poor quality of the property and return it broken, that's low responsibility. Number 3, do the best that can be done and do whatever you can to not repeat the thing that you caused the problems with before. Repeating it over and over, that's another sign of low responsibility. In my state, one is required to leave contact information. If you hit someone's car, no one sees you, particularly the owner. High level of personal responsibility, you leave the contact info. Low level of personal responsibility, you check to make sure no one saw you and leave without leaving contact info. like a hit and run driver, hits and runs. By the way, that person that leaves the contact information will be more careful in the future. Number 4, watch and observe others and see how they take responsibility for their actions or not. Learn from them. Knowledge is power. I was fortunate to have a large family. One of my brothers almost derailed his life over drugs. During this episode in his life, he never tried to lay the blame for his troubles on anyone else. Not the environment, not his friends, family, or what have you. He took personal responsibility, got some knowledge. Yep. He turned what could have been a lifelong disaster into a very successful life. Knowledge is power. Here's why you make taking personal responsibility part of your life. Why you do it. Personal responsibility, like knowledge, is power. When you realize actions start with you and the results of those actions stop with you, it's very empowering. You'll feel it as time passes. The people around you will also give you power to do things as they come to realize it as well. They will realize you get things done and are, well, responsible. Very empowering. Imagine if everyone did that. Yep, you got it. We would be making life better for all of us. That's what we do at the Vortex of Knowledge. Use knowledge to make your life better and by extension, better for all of us. Signing off till next time.